From the long shadow of Harem Sultan and the tragic reign of Kaiksem Sultan, one final queen would rise. Her name was Turhan Sultan, the woman who ended the reign of queens by spilling royal blood with her own hands. This is the story of a mother's war, a dynasty on fire, and the final bloody chapter of a legacy that began with Harem. She was born on the shores of modern-day Ukraine, a girl captured by raiders and sold in the sprawling markets of Istanbul, like the legendary queens before her. She was brought to the imperial Haroma world of shimmering silk, dangerous secrets, and brutal survival. It was there she captured the attention of Sultan Ibrahim I, a ruler known for his instability and excess. They called him Ibrahim the Mad. He showered her with gifts and priceless jewels, but his most important gift was a son, Mehmed. In that moment, the quiet girl from the Black Sea became the mother of a future emperor. But Ibrahim's rule was descending into chaos. In fits of jealousy, he drowned his concubines. He emptied the imperial treasury to gold-plate his furniture. Most dangerously, he enraged the Janissaries, the empire's elite and powerful soldiers. The people whispered his name with fear, and within the palace, whispers turned to plots. One night, in 1648, the plotting erupted into action. The Janissaries stormed the palace, deposed Ibrahim, and threw him into the same cell where his brother had once been imprisoned. Days later, he was strangled, an execution ordered by the council with the silent approval of the most powerful woman in the empire, Kaiksem Sultan. With Ibrahim dead, his 6-year-old son, Mehmed IV, became the new sultan, and Turhan, his mother, became the queen mother, the valid sultan. But there was a problem. Kaiksem Sultan Harem's spiritual successor still lived. She had ruled as regent for decades, commanded armies, and played the game of power longer than anyone. The council deemed Turhan too young and inexperienced to rule, so they made Kaiksem regent once more. 2 queens, 1 empire. An inevitable war was about to begin. At night, the palace corridors became battlefields of whispers. Turhan's supporters spread rumors that Kaiksem planned to poison the young sultan. Kaiksem's allies accused Turhan of seducing officials and corrupting the court. The harem fractured, pitting the old guard against the new, experience against raw ambition. Turhan waited silently. She had learned from the stories of Harem, never strike first, but always, always strike last. On a humid night in 1651, a warning reached Kaiksem Sultan. An assassination plot was underway. She hid in the shadows of her chambers, waiting for the guard she had paid to protect her for years. But that night, their loyalty belonged to someone else. Turhan had bought it. They entered her chambers quietly, silk cords hidden in their robes. Kaiksem tried to flee through a secret passage she had built long ago, but it was too late. Before she could reach the door, they caught her. Under the same roof where she had once ruled an empire. Kaiksem Sultan was strangled by her own grandson's guards, on the silent command of Turhan. The reign of queens had come full circle. With Kaiksem dead, Turhan stood alone at the summit of power. She was barely in her 20s, but now she ruled an empire of men. No woman would ever challenge her again. As valid sultan, she fiercely protected her son's throne and initiated reforms to stabilize the administration, but her reign was haunted. The blood she had spilled could never be washed away. The harem walls seemed to whisper the names of those who came before her. Harem. By Kaiksem the queens, who had paved her path in ambition and blood. Though Turhan's rule brought a brief period of stability, the world was changing. Europe's power was rising, and the Ottoman crescent moon no longer inspired the same fear. In her final years, Turhan devoted herself to faith, building mosques, feeding the poor, and perhaps praying for a redemption she knew might never come. But history doesn't remember her mercy. It remembers the night she killed to survive. In 1683, Turhan Sultan died peacefully in her sleep, the last of the great harem queens. She was buried beside her son. Near the grand mosque, she had built a monument not to glory, but to survival. Harem lit the fire. Cakesum carried it into an inferno of power, and Turhan extinguished it with blood. For over a century, the Ottoman Empire was ruled not by men, but by women who wore crowns of silk and secrets. They were slaves who became queens, mothers who became rulers, and rulers who became legends. But their power came with a curse that brought the age of queens to a violent and permanent end. Harem's legacy had finally met its conclusion. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales from history. We'll see you next time.